Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy Hodges, advocate for OCD, in particular Pure OCD, which is the community name for individuals with intrusive thoughts and mental rituals. I am traveling right now. I'm in Phoenix, actually. So this is why my background isn't normal, but I did want to do a video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So yeah, I wanted today to talk about pornography and how porn can get intertwined in your OCD experience, either now or in reflecting and doing mental review about pornography use in the past. So who am I? I'm an advocate. I'm a certified peer support specialist working with people worldwide, providing them support as they're working toward recovery. I can provide referrals. I also have groups through my practice. I have 8-week closed groups. I have drop-in groups now. And then I have an online community that you can join monthly and have support groups as well and meet other people with OCD. NOCD is an app, and inside that app, you can meet other people, you can get resources, you can chat with people on a forum, but they also offer telehealth, doing exposure response prevention in many places across the world. So check them out at treatmyocd.com or nocd.com if you're looking to get treatment. Okay, so let's talk about pornography. This is such an important topic. I know that this topic can also be taboo, and you may have opinions about pornography. It's wrong. It's the worst thing ever. Nobody should watch it, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't matter because today what we're talking about is how porn can intertwine with your OCD experience. I have several videos on this. But I always like to update them because it's so important and it's also such a source of shame for people. And I want to make sure that you know that it's okay to talk about this, that there are safe people like myself out there that you can talk to about this, that are not going to judge you and then are not going to say, well, you did do something wrong or porn's wrong, blah, 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 blah. If you think pornography is wrong or porn use, keep it to yourself, please. And please don't comment that stuff in the comments either. It's just not helpful for people that are already struggling with this. So a few different points that may be repetitive from videos I've done before, but that's okay. How can porn use get involved in your OCD? So many different ways. So porn can be a huge source of checking. Checking in, especially when it comes to sexual intrusive thoughts, you may use pornography as a way to watch it, to see how your body is reacting, to see, do I like this? Do I not like this? And this is a compulsion. So when you are using pornography to be able to prove or disprove things that are going on for you with sexual intrusive thoughts, and I'm monitoring and being hyper vigilant about my body's reaction. Do I feel aroused? Am I going to masturbate to this and have an orgasm? What does that mean? Or do I masturbate and I just don't feel turned on? Or do I? This is a very slippery slope when it comes to OCD and sexual intrusive thoughts and using this to prove it. I've said this before. I mean, sexual content sometimes is just arousing no matter what it is. It's just your kind of biological way we are wired. When we see this or we think about stuff, there can be all kinds of bizarre reactions that we might have that can be easily misinterpreted and or targeted. Why did I feel that way? Why did I feel that arousal? Why did that specific thing make me feel a certain way? Testing that through pornography can then become, just like I always talk about feelings. You can use a feeling to be able to prove or disprove whether an intrusive thought is real or not. Now pornography has moved into that realm as well. Okay, so I'm going to watch this pornography, and before, when I've watched this pornography, yes, it's turned me on. I'm able to orgasm to it, and it feels good because then that means I'm disproving. Well, y'all, eventually that's going to stop working. Eventually, the things that you've relied on, just like feelings, are not going to have the same impact, or you're going to become pretty desensitized to some of the stuff that before you were relying on. Or maybe you've watched porn, specific porn to disprove something, and you're watching it and you're thinking, see, I don't have any reaction to it. So that must mean that I don't, that the intrusive thoughts aren't real. Well, that could change too. And, doubling down on needing something to prove or disprove OCD inevitably is going to turn into a disaster because what the feelings meaning physical feelings, emotional feelings, everything that we need to make sure that OCD is or isn't real, are likely not going to work in the long run if they're compulsive. Why? Because compulsions don't solve the problem. They make it worse by digging deeper into the fears and the intrusive thoughts. So, what I want to do today is normalize using porn as a compulsion. Normalize meaning, oh my goodness, it is so common. So if this is something that you're doing, know that a lot of people do it. It's not something bad about you. It's not something that you have to feel shame about. It is just a resource out there that you're looking for to help with figuring out what is going on in your brain. However, I will say that using porn as a compulsion is inevitably going to probably dig you deeper into the cycle. And that's the danger of using it, because whatever you're needing is going to wear off. So other ways that OCD and pornography can be intertwined. Well, mentally reviewing porn you have looked at in the past. Porn, as you all know, if you've looked at porn, we tend to have pop-ups. So this pop-up comes up and all of a sudden it's something that might be really triggering and you couldn't get it off the computer fast enough. Or maybe you think that there was a virus uploaded to your computer and you've ruined everything, about your life, or the FBI or the police are going to find out that this pop-up was there, or you watched this porn and you didn't even mean to look at this. And did you look at it for long? All these questions can come into your brain about like getting caught, or how have you ruined your life because of pornography? Or what if you watched underage porn? What if you watched porn that was sex trafficking? Things that you cannot control that may either have happened recently and something that hit you while you were watching it, or things that you're now mentally reviewing. When I did watch that pornography years and years and years ago, sure, I used to watch like pornography that was, that had younger people in it. So now I'm mentally reviewing this and going, oh my gosh, does that mean that that's what I wanted? And does that prove that I might be, might have POCD? I'm just trying to say this because on this platform right now, they are doing a little bit more AI censoring for specific words. So I'm probably not going to say the full word moving forward in some of my videos, just because I don't want them to get flagged and get taken down, because this is some of really important information that we need to hear. So if I use words like pedo, or if I say P, that's the reason why, because I just don't want to be flagged and have these videos taken down that are so important for our recovery for OCD. And I will do a video about this later on, but not right now, while my channel has been scrutinized a little bit. So yes, so mentally reviewing some of this stuff and then thinking, oh my gosh, I watched pornography that had people that looked younger. So what does that mean about like my state of feeling like a pedo now, right? Does that mean that I am? Does that mean that that's what I've wanted and now it's just coming into fruition? And or what if I've watched this and I watched someone that was underage and then that person, has been abused, or that they have been trafficked or something? These things can really, really dig into the, oh my gosh, I have done something wrong. How do I remedy it? Some compulsions around this would be, contacting the porn sites and saying, I think that this is, these people are underage and you need to take this down and yada, yada, yada. And this can start to be very compulsive. Going through as much porn as you can to try to find videos that you may have watched years ago, or even just recently. I need to find that so I can make sure that it is or isn't someone underage. Or if it seemed like it is, was I really aroused by it? This can also go with the content of the porn that you've watched. And now you're looking, right now and going, why would I watch something like that? Why did I find that arousing? I mean, y'all, there are times in our lives where we have very different, strange, bizarre fantasies, things that did turn us on. I mean, I can think back in my 20s, some of the stuff that turned me on then, and I'm like, what? That was weird and bizarre. And if I even tried to masturbate to it now, I'd be like, this is stupid. But whatever, like whatever floated my boat then did, right? And now that I'm older, things are different, right? So the things I may have watched, the things I may have fantasized about are just completely different. It has nothing to do with emotional maturity. It just had to do with whatever I was going through at that time and whatever turned me on, right? So when we mentally review the things that we watched that were fantasies now, back then, things can be vastly different. And if they are feeding into your OCD, the OCD will flip that shit on its head. I mean, why would you watch, incest porn? Why would you watch, this and that scenario porn? Why would you watch, porn about someone cheating on someone? And what does that mean about you now? Are you capable of that? If that turns you on, maybe you are, going to commit infidelity. What if your partner knew this? You know, why would you watch something with a really older man or woman with a younger man or woman? Why would I watch this? Why would I watch, gay porn? What, and now I'm having intrusive thoughts about sexuality, or if you identify as gay or bi, why would I watch straight porn? If that's not what I identify as now, all these things can come back into, our mind now and say, oh my gosh, this must be proof. This must have been the beginning and I was just in denial, or maybe I'm in denial now. So reflecting on your fantasies, reflecting on things that once were a turn on that now are not, can just be very distressing and disturbing when it comes to OCD. And this is where porn just kind of runs wild and rampant, right? And also kind of puts you in kind of a danger zone of like using porn, compulsively, using porn as, in a compulsive way that may feel like an addiction. So, do or don't you have an addiction with pornography? I don't know. That's something that you really need to talk about with a professional. But I also do know this, and I'm sure I've said this in videos before, that there is a moral issue with porn that can make you believe that you have an addiction when you don't. The shame of watching porn, it's called moral incongruence. So it's when you are looking at your porn use in one way, meaning I have so much shame about watching porn one time last week that must mean that I am highly addicted to porn and my whole life is falling apart. I need to confess to everybody that I watch the porn and that I have this horrible problem, when in reality, you're struggling with the moral incongruence of it. This is not really who I am as a person, yet I enjoy watching porn. This is a big thing for humans in general. And then we throw OCD on top of it, and whoo, it can just light it on fire. There's a lot of shame around porn use because I'm going to state this boldly. A very large percentage of people will say pornography use is wrong. But that percentage of people saying that does not match the people that are actually using porn statistically. Why? Because people use pornography in silence. They use pornography behind closed doors. And the incongruence part is watching pornography isn't aligned with who I am as a person, because I'm going to believe that watching porn is wrong. However, I'm doing it anyway. So there's a moral incongruence here. And the shame is making me feel like I have done something wrong. Throw OCD into the mix. Oh my goodness. Now there's the shame I have done something horrible. And what if people knew? But now, what if they knew what I was using porn for compulsively to prove I am or am not something that my brain is telling me that I like or don't like, or that I prefer or don't prefer, something that something is telling me. OCD can make this so much worse. My point in telling you this is that there is support for moral incongruence being huge when it comes to shame with pornography use. And so you may be dealing with both. And carrying around that much shame is so hard for several reasons. It makes you feel horrible when we already feel horrible about OCD, but B, it might keep you from asking for help. I don't want to tell people about my porn use. I don't want to be judged morally. I don't even want to see it for what it is. I'm scared that I do have an addiction. I'm scared to tell people I watch this, but yet you do it anyway, whether it's for OCD or not. And you just feel decimated from the shame and the guilt. I am here to tell you, I am a safe person to talk to when it comes to this stuff, regardless of whether you think I'm the worst person on the planet and no one's going to understand. And I also want you to know that it doesn't matter. You are not alone with this, let me tell you. And B, so many people lie about porn use because of the moral incongruence piece and the shame that it brings on. And that means you do deserve to get treatment. You do deserve to ask for help, no matter how porn is integrated into your OCD or just in general into your life. With that, the last thing I wanted to bring up, and I don't know a lot about this because I actually don't watch this, but I wanted to bring up anime. This is a big topic that comes up for people and something that people are very ashamed about. So in anime, what I do know about it is that in, the sexual content, when it comes to anime, there are characters that look very young, and this can cause havoc with your OCD. If this is something that brings you pleasure, you masturbate to, that you like to watch, and now all of a sudden you're reflecting on the age of the characters or the features of the characters that may look younger, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, if I'm feeling this way about anime, is this how I really feel in real life? You're you do feel aroused by it, and you feel shame about that, because what does that have to say about me? And what does that have to say if I'm having POCD thoughts? Um, is the anime a reflection of this? I do want you to know this is super common. And you don't hear people talking about this, but I hear about it a lot with people, and it can absolutely get intertwined in your OCD. And so do not let that stop you from getting help. Do not let that stop you from thinking that you are the only one that doesn't deserve treatment and empathy because you must be this horrible person. It is so common. So I just wanted to touch on that. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about that anime in general, so I don't want to say too much because I just don't know. But I did want to bring that up because I know it is huge for people, in the shame element, and also feeling like, because I've watched this, because I've been turned on by this, this must mean something about my intrusive thoughts. So I know that was a lot of information thrown at you, but again, I do want to emphasize, regardless of what you think about pornography, I'm not interested in hearing it. Like, I don't want to hear that you think it's wrong and all that shit. So don't say that in the comments. I do not care, and you'll be blocked, like 100%. And don't email me either telling me your thoughts on it. I do not care. What I care about is that if you're watching this, there's a reason, because you're feeling horrible. It's intertwined in your OCD and you're feeling shame. And you need to know that it is okay. And I am validating that you feel this way and that you're scared to reach out for help, or that it makes you feel worse in your OCD symptoms, and that I understand and I empathize. And I do not think you are a bad person for this. So I hope that you're able to hear that and take that with you. If you're interested in peer support, groups, again, bringing this up in my groups, in my community, 100% encouraged. You do not have to avoid meeting other people, because this is part of your experience. So many people struggle with this, and they are brave enough to bring it to group and get validated by myself and the empathetic, amazing people that attend my groups. So all my peer supporters feel the same way. So go to ChrissyHodges.com to find out more. Go to ChrissyHodgesCommunity.com to find out about my community and to join or to register. And if you want to join, email me and I can get you in if registration isn't open at that time. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, reach out to me over email. And then if you're looking for therapy through NoCD, go to treatmyocd.com or nocd.com. Thanks.